The story starts with Ichinose, who had a tough beginning. His friend Hanabi bullied him for ages, turning hurtful words into everyday comments that he just took in. Even when he had to go to a hospital because of stress, she didn't stop. She sat by his bed, calling him worthless and a failure as a partner, but she still wouldn't break up with him. "You're too nice," she said, "and I'm not about to waste a perfectly good doormat." That's when Ichinose finally snapped. He told her they should end things. Hanabi was shocked. Her mind went blank. It wasn't always this bad. Or maybe it was, and Ichinose was just taking it all in slowly. Back in the day, he used to spend his time playing in the sand, doing his own thing. When Hanabi showed up and asked if he was making an elephant, he replied that he was. She just stared at him, not making a sound. It was a bit unsettling. Everyone thought she was super nice, so she kept playing with him. He started to wonder if he was the odd one out. He even apologized, even though he wasn't sure why. That pretty much set the tone for the rest of his life. Hanabi would tease him, and he would just roll with it. She even made him keep notes for an inn and insisted on being his significant other. If he didn't reply to her messages fast enough, she would accuse him of being inconsiderate, heartless, and dare I say, probably the cause of global warming, which Hanabi ruled with an iron fist. One day, she texted him to meet her and her friends at the station. His stomach was doing somersaults, and he was tempted to leave, but he knew what would happen if he did. So, like a man without a clue, he grabbed his umbrella and went. She texted again, "Be there in 5 minutes." He pointed out that it was raining, which was a big mistake, making it sound like he was trying to give her pneumonia. She of course added the classic line, "No one else cares about you, son," just to make sure. So off he went, running through the downpour like a hero in a sad love story, but way less cool. When he got there, he thought something serious was happening, and found her eating with her friends inside. He texted to say he'd arrived, but she just said he took too long and had to wait outside in the rain. And wait. He did for an hour. It turns out, he wasn't just standing there like an idiot. He was part of a bet. Hanabi and her friends had been betting on whether he'd actually wait that long. And guess what? He did. When she finally came out, she laughed at how wet he was, comparing his hair to a wet mop, as if it was all just a fun joke. In front of everyone, she casually declared that he'd do anything she said. For the first time, he felt his stomach drop. He had realized he should have left ages ago, perhaps even years ago. When he finally told her they were done, she reacted as if he had suddenly been electrocuted. Fast forward to the hospital, and she was still in shock. She climbed onto his bed, acting as if he had no right to end the relationship. "Breaking up with me? That's not how this works," she exclaimed, going full dramatic mode, claiming no one else would ever date a loser like him. Maybe she was right. Ichinose truly didn't care. Whether he ended up alone forever or not, one thing was certain. He was finally unshackled. Hanabi was pushed out of his clinic room, as Ichinose asked her if she was happy now that she was rid of her ineffectual significant other. He shut the door behind her. Hana pounded on the door, demanding an apology. A nurse gently asked Hanabi to calm down, as it was a medical center, explaining that they had argued and she was sorry for losing her temper when Ichinose fell ill. She said she was leaving and bowed in apology for causing a scene. As she walked away, she pondered how socialites with good looks are always sought after. She texted Ichinose saying she was getting irritated and that he should apologize to her. She tried to manipulate him again, saying he had no other friends. She even scolded him for reading her messages. He blocked her, realizing she had twisted everything to make herself the victim. Back in his hospital bed, Ichinose couldn't help but remember how Hanabi used to tease him about his appearance when they were children. She would ask if he had ever looked in the mirror, saying that if she had a face like his, she would never show it to anyone, because people would make fun of her. She even suggested he grow his hair out to cover his face. Feeling the weight of all Hannah's words, crushing his self-esteem. Because of her, he had never truly understood his own worth. But then, he decided to cut his hair after leaving the medical facility. That night, he finally fell asleep, feeling liberated. After 13 years, his toxic relationship with Hanabi was officially over. When he returned to school, the reaction was immediate. The girls went wild. Ichinose looked amazing, and no one even recognized him at first. They thought he was a new student, raving about his silky hair and striking eyes, calling him the one. Ichinose is so caught up in all the attention that he is at a loss for words. His friend Haruta teases him, saying that everyone is talking about him. It is the first time someone has ever complimented him on his appearance. Haruta points out that Ichinose used to have bangs that hid his face. Now that they are gone, he looks like a completely different person. They tell him he looks much better without the bangs. and that they had no idea their class had such a handsome guy. Haruta asks why he decided to change his look now. Ichinose jokes that he just wanted to shake things up a bit. Haruta compliments him, saying he looks much better this way, and Ichinose thanks him, feeling genuinely happy. Then, he notices 3 girls crying while looking at him, which is a bit of a mystery to him. Haruta chuckles and reminds him that there's still so much he has to learn. Ichinose apologizes for making the class feel a bit strange by keeping to himself for so long. He's keen to chat more with everyone and hopes to get along with them all. The class is delighted to hear this and are thrilled that the serious bloke with bangs turns out to be rather attractive after all. Later at lunch, they all sit together. Haruta admits that Ichinose never seemed like he could have a normal conversation, saying that if they had known, they would have been friends with him sooner. Ichinose apologizes again for being so withdrawn and says he's happy to be talking with them now. Haruta tells him he's kind and good-looking. Ichinose just smiles, saying his personality and appearance are nothing special, that smile drives the girls crazy. Haruta chuckles, claiming his looks are a natural gift, and gently advises him against smiling too much, as it might cause trouble. Ichinose finds this amusing, and laughs, which only makes the girl more flustered. Suddenly, Hanabi bursts in looking rather upset. Ichinose knew she was truly angry. He doesn't care if it's because he didn't pay attention to her, or if they've broken up. It's no longer his concern. He wants to leave, but she stops him. He recalls Hanabi's words. Since she was the school's prettiest girl, their relationship would be scandalous. She felt she was far above him, and didn't want anyone to question her taste. So she made him promise to keep it a secret. Haruta asks Ichinose if he knows her, but he simply says he's never seen her before, and walks away. Hanabi storms off, furious at being rejected. Ichinose finishes his maths work early, and realizes he has 15 minutes to spare. His mind briefly drifts back to his last encounter with Hanabi. She's probably still fuming somewhere, but honestly, he doesn't care. As he looks around considering how to kill time, he notices a girl with glasses, sitting nearby, reading a book. A sudden gust of wind took something out of her book, and without even thinking, Ichinose picked it up and gave it back. She thanked him, and he casually said, "No problem." But she looked a bit surprised. That's when it hit him. This was the first time they'd ever spoken. Hanabi used to tell him all the time that no girl would ever like him. She'd say she was only dating him out of pity, like she was doing him a huge favor. Ichinose never really learned how to talk to girls on his own. He always thought he'd just make things awkward, so he avoided it for years. Hanabi was pretty much the only girl he spoke to, and even those conversations were more like one-sided lectures. Now standing there, Ichinose admitted to the girl that he's never really tried making friends before, and apologized if he made her uncomfortable. To his surprise, she blushed and reassured him that everything was fine. She even introduced herself, hoping they could get along. Ichinose already knew who she was. When he says so, she smiles, pleased that they have finally spoken. Later, Yukishiro teases him about the attention he has received since he cut his hair. Ichinose shrugs it off, saying people will soon get over it as they do with anything unusual. Yukishiro laughs and calls him funny. Talking to her feels different from talking to Hanabi. With Yukishiro, he does not have to overthink things or worry about saying the wrong thing. He can simply be himself, which is a welcome change. She mentions that she has always wanted to talk to him because she noticed him taking care of the flowers and watering the plants after school. She thought he seemed kind. Ichinose brushes it off, saying he was just killing time while waiting for Hanabi, and that he is not as kind as she thinks. Yukishiro laughs and hands in her book, joking that he will now be very popular. Later, Ichinose heads to an arcade, tries his luck at a claw machine, and fails miserably. Instead, he decides to buy some food. Everywhere he goes, girls seem to flock to him, which still feels pretty surreal. He sits down to eat, and realizes that now that he's broken up with Hanabi, he doesn't have to deal with her unceasing messages anymore. No more scolding for not replying quickly enough. Still, his heart races every time his phone rings. Old Hanabi die hard, I guess, but he tells himself it will fade with time. She's never going to text him again. On the train ride home, he reflects on his day and realizes it was actually fun. School, the conversations with the Yukishiro, hanging out with his classmates, it all felt important. He used to avoid people because of the things Hanabi drilled into his head, but now he feels ready to change. For the first time in ages, he's decided to make loads of friends. As he's walking home, he sees Hanabi on her phone. She quickly hides it and acts like nothing's happened. She starts complaining about how long it took him. She's a bit frustrated that she had to wait 2 whole hours for him. She reminds him, like he forgot she taught him to take a different route whenever he wanted. Now she demands to know what he was thinking when he decided to break a rule. Ichinose doesn't respond and tries to walk past her, but she blocks his way. She can't believe he's ignoring her. Frustrated, he finally acknowledges her, but only to ask what she wants. She gets louder, upset about how long she had to wait for him. It's just another way to make him feel bad, something she always did to get him to apologize. Suddenly, her anger turns to his classmates. She starts going on about them, somehow linking it back to how they left him behind, as if Ichinose should have known how she would react, like he's to blame for how she feels. He wonders if she really wasted 2 hours just to say all this. His lack of interest only makes her angrier, but he doesn't care. He says one last time that they're no longer friends, and that her behavior is just annoying. Ichinose confirms that he's really breaking up with her, which makes Hanabi visibly upset. She warns him that his life won't be good without her, but he doesn't change his mind. He tells her that, when they were together, he was in a terrible state. Feeling a bit down, Hanabi grabs Ichinose's arm and accuses him of being a fool for letting a day of fun get to his head. She thinks this is his biggest flaw, saying that those who only like him for his looks are not worth it, and that he is too blind to see it. Then, she wants to know how he will cope without her, reminding him that there is no one else he can talk to like this. The classmates he spent the whole day with were not like Hanabi described at all. She no longer has the power to decide who he spends time with, because it is over between them. Hanabi snaps, saying he cannot do things on his own and always needs someone to guide him. She demands that he apologize, saying that his cold attitude frustrates her. She is used to it, she says, and even claims that it takes a big heart to forgive him, telling him to apologize properly. But the more she talks, the more determined Ichinose becomes, making it clear that he doesn't need her in his life. Hanabi is shocked, and gets angry, insisting that she's the one who wants to end the relationship, but Ichinose points out that they're already done, so it doesn't even matter. She shouts that she doesn't approve of this, but Ichi knows he's tired of the back and forth. He reminds her that she was always the one who talked about breaking up. Now that it's finally happening, he's had enough. He pushes her aside and tells her to leave. Hanabi storms off in one direction, while Ichinose walks the other way. He sighs in relief, thinking she's finally accepted that it's over. Days pass since their last conversation at the park, and Ichinose enjoys the peace his life has brought him. Although life has been calm, he still sees Hanabi after school. Even when he ignores her, she always seems to appear in front of him. He thinks it's a good thing she's not talking to him. But then he remembers all the times she made him wait in front of her house for no reason at all, fixing her hair, watching a TV show she liked, anything to keep him standing there. Now he gets to the station earlier than usual, and suddenly realizes she might have been making him wait on purpose. That's when he spots her with a second-year student, the star of the track team. It looks like they're dating. The guy playfully asks Hanabi how much she loves him, using a sweet voice. She replies that she loves him more, teasing that he sounds like he's comparing her to someone. Hanabi then jokes that she will cast a spell on him, ensuring he only thinks about her. He calls her cute, and promises to never look at another girl again. Ichinose, who is watching from a distance, thinks the man should look at other people. He decides to take an earlier train to avoid them. 2 days later, despite his plan, Ichinose ends up seeing them on the train. He wonders why they were not there yesterday when he tried to avoid them. It is becoming increasingly apparent that their presence is intentional, rather than a coincidence. He begins to suspect that Hana wants him to see her with her new significant other, as if she is trying to prove a point. Ichinose shrugs it off, pretending not to care, which only makes Hanabi even more annoyed. The next day he greets his classmates as usual, but feels drained, likely because of what he saw yesterday. He tries to shake off his nerves and get a good night's sleep. The first lesson is PE, and Ichinose isn't too excited about it. The gym teacher announces that they will be choosing the relay race order for the sports festival. The boys get excited because they know that the fastest runner will be the anchor, and the second fastest will take the second spot. Apparently, being in one of those positions makes you popular with the girls. So, everyone suddenly gets really motivated. Seeing everyone so fired up, Ichinose realizes just how competitive they are. He has never really tested his own speed, because every year he just aimed for an average performance. He doesn't even know how fast he actually is. The only time he ever tried running seriously was in kindergarten, when he won first place in a race and received a sticker as a prize. But that moment was short-lived. Hanabi quickly peeled off the sticker, explaining that she didn't like how he looked when he ran. Apparently he was too fast, like a racehorse, and that wasn't cool. Ever since then, Ichinose has made a point of slowing down on purpose. Every year, when the sports festival rolled around, Hanabi would remind him to take it easy because she hated not being the center of attention. She was sure that if he ever stole the spotlight from her, she'd despise him for it. But now, Ichinose doesn't care about that anymore. He's tired of hiding in the background. He just wants to be normal like everyone else. So this time, he decides not to hold back. When it's his group's turn, they all line up at the starting position. As soon as the race begins, Ichinose Ska starts running at full speed. And wow, this is way too easy. He doesn't need to worry about looking around or slowing down. He just runs. When he crosses the finish line, he turns to see how everyone else is doing. And guess what? The other three are way behind him. The whole class is stunned. Even the gym teacher looks like he's seen a ghost. Ichinose is incredibly fast. Record-breakingly fast. It turns out his speed is enough to break the district record, and he's surprised to see just how quick he really is. His classmates are super excited, saying that with him on their team, they're practically guaranteed to win the relay race. If each of them knows that the guy who can casually break records is running as the anchor, their class will be unstoppable. And let's be honest, the stakes are high. The winning class gets dessert coupons from the canteen, which for a bunch of hungry students is basically a golden ticket. Everyone is ready to taste sweet victory, literally. But Ichinose is still in disbelief and tries to downplay it, thinking maybe his run was just a fluke. He's not even in a sports club, so it's not like he is trained for this. He apologizes, saying he might not be the best choice for anchor, which immediately sends his classmates into a panic. Some of them actually grab onto his legs, as if he's about to board a spaceship and never return. Seeing how desperate they are, Ichinose figures there's no point in refusing anymore. He agrees to be the anchor, but with a disclaimer: he can't guarantee a win. If they're fine with that, he'll do his best. The class erupts in cheers. They're way too excited about this. For the first time, Ichinose feels important. People genuinely want him on their team, and that feeling is kind of nice. His popularity is evident, as he is frequently the subject of admiration. His athletic prowess is well known, and he is often the center of attention. This contrasts sharply with his previous solitary nature. His life has improved significantly since his relationship with Hanabi ended. Yukishiro suggests he consider pursuing a career in athletics, but Ichinose dismisses the idea, stating he never saw a purpose for his speed beyond gym class. Yukishiro is surprised by his nonchalance and insists he is now a school hero, even requesting running advice. Ichinose lacks the expertise to teach someone to become naturally fast. But just as Yukishiro is about to respond, she suddenly declares she wants to skip the sports festival altogether, which leaves him completely taken aback. He wishes he could lend a hand. But before he can say anything, Huki suddenly appears and asks for a moment of his time. Ichinose instantly recognized Huki as the person who had set the second fastest record earlier, only for Kiriyaya to casually smash it as if it were nothing. Curious, Ichinose wonders what Huki wants. Huki gets straight to the point, asking Ichinose if he is planning to give it his all in the relay race and aim for victory. Gainos is caught off guard. He wasn't planning to push himself to the limit for this competition. However, Huki is dead set serious. He admits he has been training for months to be the anchor, only for Ichinose to swoop in and take the spot effortlessly. At first, Ichinose thinks Huki wants him to step aside, but it turns out that's not the case. Huki accepts his loss, but insists that Ichinose must take this race seriously, because Class B's anchor is a Kiriyaya. Let's get ready to rumble with some dramatic music. Ichinose quickly puts the pieces together. Kiriyaya, the star athlete from the track club, the guy with the annoyingly perfect face, and the same one he saw at the train station with Hanabi. Now it all clicks. Ichinose asked Huki why he is so determined to beat Kiriyaya, and with a bitter laugh, Huki admits that Kiriyaya stole his girlfriend. Ichinose is astonished, and even Yukishi, who has been listening quietly, looks shocked. Huki clarifies that he doesn't hate Kiriyaya for it. He blames himself for being too weak to hold on to his relationship. What really ticks him off is how Kiriyaya just dropped his ex for a first-year girl as if she meant nothing. That, Huki says, is something he can't forgive. Ichinose finally understands. Huki ran into Kiriyaya earlier that day and told him they were finalizing the relay team lineup. Kiriyaya grinned and declared he would be his team's anchor, with his usual cheeky grin suggesting that just as he had triumphed over Huki in love, he would also win this race. Huki is furious and eager for revenge. Ichinose has realized that if Kiriyaya is as fast as everyone claims, he needs to take this seriously. He pauses and considers that, since it is so personal, perhaps he should be the anchor. Seeing him agree makes Huki incredibly excited. Butcho reminds him that it only works if they actually win. Huki nods, but then drops a bombshell. Kiraya holds the current and district records. Ichinosesis starts to doubt if he can pull this off, but Hooky insists that he has the potential to beat Kuragaya with the right training. Ichinosesis is wondering if just getting faster will be enough, since it's a relay race, where the whole team needs to work together. Hooky says he's already looked at their class times, compared to Class B's. Even though how well you do can change, it will really come down to who can run the fastest at the end. Hooky asks if he can train with Ichinosis for the next 2 weeks. Ichinosis agrees, but only if Hooky helps him out in return. Hooky asks what he needs, and Ichinosis smiles and says he wants Hooky to teach Yukishiro how to run. Yukishiro is surprised, but Hooky nods. It's a deal. They decide to start training the next day. Ichinosis has officially passed the responsibility of teaching Yukishiro to Hooky. Now the three of them are on a mission to beat Kiraya in the relay race. The next morning, Ichinosis meets up with Hooky and Yukishiro for their first training session. It is the first time he has really spent time with his classmates like this. Usually, Hanabi would be keeping a close eye on everything, but now he feels a sense of freedom. As they get to know each other, Hanabi watches from a distance. As the group gets ready to start, Hooky, feeling really excited, announces that they are going to take down Class B and put Kiraya in his place. They decide to lend a hand to Yuki Shioin because Kiraya, who is currently Hanabi's partner, has taken Hooky's girlfriend. It is clear that Hooky is still a bit upset about this, so he warns them to be careful and tells everyone to get warmed up properly. During the warm-up, Ichinosis trips and falls. Yukishiro asks if he laughed at her, and he says she looked cute, which makes her blush. She then asks if he is a natural flirt, which completely confuses him. Meanwhile, Hooky starts crying dramatically about how they dare flirt in front of someone whose love life has been completely destroyed. Ichinosis, trying to be helpful, drags Hooky away, while Yukishiro times her own run with a stopwatch. After finishing, she's completely out of breath. And Ichinosis thinks her training is going well, since her running times are improving. Still, he doesn't expect big results right away since they just started training. Then Yukishiro comes running back, panting heavily, and Ichinosis once again finds her adorable, as she teases him, calling him a total charmer. However, he still doesn't get it. Meanwhile, Hooky continues to cry dramatically about their flirting. Ichinosis calms him down, and their training continues every morning and night. Hanabi appears during their train ride with none other than Kiraya. Ichinosis thinks it must be a big deal for her to wake up an hour early, especially since she used to put so much effort into her appearance. Now her hair is all over the place. Suddenly, Hanabi steps away from Kiraya and rushes towards him, shouting because he has been avoiding her. Remember when she told him that a plan made by someone as clueless as him wouldn't work? Well, now she sees she was wrong. Hanabi knew she would be in Ichinosis' face every day, and Ichinosis told her she didn't have to wake up so early, at least not early enough to have a bad hair day. Panicking, Hanabi grabbed her hair and spun around to look at her reflection in the mirror Kiraya was holding. Ichinosis realized she hadn't even noticed her messy hair until now. Quickly getting her act together, Hanabi mentioned that she heard Ichinosis would be the anchor for the race. Ichinosis was taken aback, exclaiming, "Wait, what?" She then yelled at him to take things more seriously. After a moment, she dramatically pointed at him and proclaimed an ultimatum. Since he ignored her and kept running despite her telling him to stop, she vowed to humiliate him for it. She bragged that Kiraya was the anchor for Class B, claiming he was going to do his best. With a confident smile, she taunted Ichinosis to get ready to eat her dust. And then she said goodbye, telling him he could do whatever he wanted to try to fight back. The two of them left, practically sparking with rivalry. Ichinosis sighed in relief, and continued training with his team in the mornings, after school, and even on their days off. They trained as much as possible. After a long day of practice, Hoi finally called it a day, praising everyone for their effort. Exhausted, Kira flopped onto the ground, completely spent. The three of them sat together, realizing that tomorrow was the big day. Hai reassured them, stating that their times had improved significantly, and he was confident they would do great at the festival. Even though the race wasn't a direct showdown, Hai insisted they were going to crush Kiraya. Ichinose had shown talent since day one, training non-stop for 2 whole weeks. He thanked Osi for the kind words, and mentioned that he wished they had more time to train. Hui, feeling emotional, suddenly burst into tears. A classic Hoi moment. And he thanked both of them, saying he truly meant it. He admitted that he couldn't sleep because of Kiraya, his ex-significant other, who still haunted his thoughts. However, since they started training, the only thing on his mind had been improving his running time, which surprisingly helped him get some real sleep. He thanked them again. Yukishiro, feeling the sentimental vibe, said she should be thankful because they helped her run so much better. She smiled and thanked them, saying she really enjoyed being teammates. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Ichinose admitted that spending time with them was more fun than he thought. But Hui made it clear that he still didn't like Kiraya very much. Yukishiro said she thought she was wrong at first, but Kiraya had changed. He looked fresher, almost like Ichinose, which surprised her. She quickly clarified that it was just his hair. Everything else was so different. We then joked that Kiraya had cut his hair when he started dating someone new, and his ex actually dumped him because she preferred his hair. He felt like a right fool for thinking Kiraya might have chopped his hair just to spite him. Hugging Ichinose, we told him to laugh all he wanted, but Chosis simply replied that no one had the right to mock someone who loved with all their heart. Hearing this, Hui broke down, calling Ichinose a good guy. These were the first friends he, the main character, had made. Later, Yukishiro praised Ichinose, and when he asked why, she listed all the moments that showed his kindness. Moving closer with a bright smile, she declared that this side of him was wonderful. Their sudden closeness made them both blush, saying that getting to know him had shown her how wonderful he was, which made her happy. They both turned red as Ichinose admitted his embarrassment. Yukira, feeling the same, insisted she just wanted to express her feelings. Flustered again, they quickly wrapped up the conversation, agreeing they needed to give it their all the next day. She waved goodbye and headed off on her own, and Ichinose did the same. Later that night, lying in bed, Ichinose remembered what Yukishiro and Hui had told him earlier and how much time he had spent with them. He realized he couldn't thank them enough. For the first time, he experienced something completely new. He couldn't sleep because his mind was racing, but not about running. He sat up in bed thinking, so, this is what that feels like. The next morning, the whole team was buzzing with excitement and ready to win. Finally, the sports festival we had all been waiting for was here. Ichinose remembered his friend's words from before and thought of all the fun times they had together, feeling thankful again. The festival started with a tug-of-war, led by he, followed by a tire-carrying race, and then a ball-throwing event, all organized by Ryo. The cheering crowd was really getting into it. Ichinose, who was looking forward to his jump rope competition, headed over. There he saw Hanabi in her cheerleader outfit. Kiraya, being extra sweet, called Hanabi by her nickname and was so excited about the cheerleading shows. She even said Hanabi was absolutely adorable. All of a sudden, he felt like he could win anything. His teammate caught the vibe and joined in. Hanabi, playing up her cuteness, asked him to win first place for her. Kiraya stepped in confidently, declaring that of course he would win. There was no way he was going to lose. Hanabi smiled and cheered for them, saying she hoped they wouldn't lose in the relay race. As the main event was about to begin, the announcer called for the first runners to take their positions. Hooking stepped up determined and told the team that he was going to sprint as fast as possible in the first stage before passing the baton off to them. Yukishiro gave some last-minute encouragement to Hazi and Ichinose, telling them to give it their all. The race began, and Hookie took off running as if his life depended on it. Yukishiro cheered loudly as each runner gave their best effort, passing the baton down the line. As it was almost Ichinose's turn, she started to panic. Ichinose gently encouraged her to stay calm and stick to their practice routine. Suddenly, she turned to him and asked him to hold her hand for a moment. Without a second thought, he reached out, and she squeezed his hands tightly. Taking a deep breath, she smiled and said she felt ready to go. She thanked him, got into position, and was all set for her moment to shine. When the baton came to her, she took off running. Hi, shouted at her to remember what they had practiced, while Ichinose cheered her on. She pushed herself hard, running as fast as she could while keeping a steady pace. The other runners were starting to fall behind. She passed the baton to her next teammate and stumbled towards, still out of breath. Ichinose smiled and told her, "You did an amazing job out there." That was incredible. Yukishiro, still catching her breath, recalled hearing him cheering for her, or even from afar. She was astounded by his loud support, feeling it like a miracle. With a determined grin, she vowed to cheer for him wholeheartedly. Ichinose glanced at Hookie, who had started the race strong, his teammates passing the baton, and Yukishiro giving it her all. Suddenly, he felt the weight of his anchor position and a need to deliver a great result for them. As Ichinose watched the race unfold, he noticed Clasby had taken a massive lead, while his class struggled to maintain second place. His opponent seemed quite sure of himself, and one of Kiraya's teammates couldn't help but chuckle, wondering why Ichinose was chosen as the anchor. He even teased Uki, pointing out how his performance had slipped since his split. Meanwhile, Kiraya's team was in perfect sync, passing the baton without a hitch. He zoomed off with a grin, speeding up like a rocket. Ichinose watched in dismay as his team slipped to third place. By the time the second-place team's anchor started running, Kiraya was already halfway through the track. Finally, Ichinose's teammate dashed in, handing him the baton. His moment had finally come. With every ounce of strength, he propelled himself forward. All the hours of training and relentless effort had led to this. He steadied his breathing and focused on pushing forward, keeping Yukishiro's advice in mind. Within seconds, he overtook the second-place runner, closing the gap. However, just catching up was not enough. He had to win. Up ahead, Kiraya remained in the lead, but Ichinose was closing in rapidly. The sudden shift in pace sent a ripple of shock through the crowd. Gas filled the air, and all eyes locked onto the track. Kiraya finally noticed the attention and turned around only to find Ichinose directly behind him. Before Kiraya could react, Ichinose surged past him, taking the lead with ease. The crowd erupted into cheers, and his teammates rushed to the finish line in pure exhilaration. Meanwhile, Kiraya was left trailing behind, seething with frustration. Dazed by the overwhelming excitement, he barely had time to process the moment. Amidst the excitement, he spotted Yukashiro beaming with pride, and Hooky wiping away tears of joy. For the first time, he truly felt it. This is what happiness looks like. Hooky, still emotional, threw himself at Ichinose in a hug, and the rest of the team gathered around, celebrating their victory. From a distance, Hanabi quietly sipped from her water bottle, her expression unreadable. As the celebration continued and the cheers grew louder, the entire class lifted their triumphant anchor into the air once more. At that moment, a girl commented that the runner from the other class was actually part of the track club, yet had still lost. She scoffed, saying that just having a good-looking face wasn't enough, and that he deserved to lose because of his arrogant attitude. The protagonist listened, noting how annoyed she sounded. It was clear why she was his girlfriend, but he didn't think she was upset just to back him up. He chose to stick with his friend instead of trying to get back at Hanabi. After the race, his friend casually mentioned that they were all meeting up for karaoke later. Our protagonist assumed it was a class gathering and realized he had never actually been to one before. Deep down, he hoped someone would say, "Hey, let's meet up." But instead, his friend insisted that the party wouldn't be complete without the guest of honor, him. As he considered going, he suddenly spotted Hanabi walking with another bloke. Instinctively, he and Yukishiro ducked behind cover, not wanting to run into her right after defeating her team in the relay race. It would feel way too awkward to interact with her now. Meanwhile, a conversation unfolded between Hanabi and the track club guy. He complained that he wasn't feeling his best today, that his body felt heavy, and that was why he couldn't perform at his peak. He was quite sure he would do well in the inter-school competitions. Hanabi raised an eyebrow at his excuse. She was clearly not impressed, and asked what he meant by "next time." She was honestly shocked by his audacity. Without hesitation, she reminded him that whatever they had, if anything, was over. The bloke looked genuinely confused, as if this was news to him. He seemed to believe they were actually dating. When she scoffed at him, he brought up how she always wanted to walk to school with him and would hold onto his arm, as if that somehow proved his point. Rolling her eyes, Hanabi shut him down instantly. She told him he was clueless, probably too muscle to think straight, and made it clear he was never her significant other. She mentioned there was only one person she would actually consider dating. Curious, he asked who it was, but she waved him off, telling him it was none of his business. Desperate to salvage whatever he thought they had, he pleaded for another chance, even admitting that he broke up with his last girlfriend for her. He even went so far as to change his hairstyle to match her preferences. Hanabi wasn't having any of it. She actually laughed, pointing out how typical it was for him to assume everything was his choice, when he never even asked what she wanted in the first place. She didn't just call him worthless. She also made it clear he was being overly dramatic, turning this into an unnecessary scene. At this point, her patience was gone. She told him to back off, flatly stating that she didn't need him anymore and didn't want him around. With a sharp, sarcastic tone, she thanked him for absolutely nothing. The guy stammered, trying to get her to stop, but she cut him off completely, telling him to disappear. As she turned to leave, she suddenly noticed our protagonist hiding nearby with Yukishiro. Their eyes met, and her expression shifted instantly. Without missing a beat, she strolled over and demanded to know what he was doing there. She figured he must have come just to watch her humiliation, mocking the idea that this was the end of anything. Everything that just happened was still that worthless guy's fault. She glared at the protagonist, convinced that one day he would regret letting her go. But instead of reacting to her anger, he stayed calm, refusing to get caught up in her drama. Hanabi smirked, warning him that giving up so easily meant he wouldn't have to deal with her anymore. But he better be ready for her revenge. With that, she turned and walked away. After she was gone, the protagonist turned to Yukishiro and apologized for making her witness such a weird conversation. She brushed it off, saying it wasn't a big deal, then asked if he was okay. Even though she said it was a bit awkward, she really liked that he checked in on her. Later that evening, our main character went to karaoke with his mates. The place was packed, and everyone was talking about what had happened that day. One of them said how amazing the race was, and gave a big shout out to the protagonist, especially since he was a virgin, calling him the MVP of the day. They couldn't stop talking about how incredible his performance was, how he went beyond what he thought he could do, and just thinking about it made their hearts race. They all agreed he was the best part of the day. As always, the protagonist kept it down, saying there was no need to thank him because it was really the whole class's hard work that won them the victory. His words surprised everyone, and they were really touched by his attitude. A close friend pointed out that most of the class showed up to the karaoke, which wasn't always the case. As the protagonist was still getting to know the class, he noticed that the class representative seemed to be the kind of person who made sure everyone felt included. One day, he chatted with Yukishiro about a lovely song playing. They both agreed that the lyrics were incredibly moving. Hagawa started singing with such enthusiasm, dedicating the song to the protagonist as a symbol of their friendship. Hagawa took a moment to share that he already knew his ex had moved on to someone else. But instead of letting it get to him, he saw it as a way to get back at that unworthy person, and he was thankful for that. The other classmates were surprised to discover that the protagonist not only won the race, but also helped a friend through a tough time. As he explained why he agreed to help, the group was even more impressed by his kindness towards her. It's not just his talent that makes him stand out. His humility and sincerity only make him more admirable. People start to see him as someone with a charming ease that feels almost unreal, and how naturally likable he is. Yukishiro commends him, describing him as an incredible hero. It is unsurprising that he is admired by everyone, even she. She admits to having an exceptional day, and explains that when she saw him run, she unconsciously followed his gaze, which caused her chest to tighten. No finds himself lost in thought, struggling to process the unusual sensation. At that moment, he realizes he does not fully understand it. The two fall into a comfortable silence, simply enjoying the music and watching their classmates sing and have fun. As he takes in the lively atmosphere, he feels genuinely happy. After a while, he decides to step outside for a moment to clear his head. Outside, he overhears a group of girls from his class talking. Their conversation soon takes a turn for the worse, as they start spreading rumors about Minagi. Their tone is filled with irritation as they grumble that she keeps hanging around Shin. One of them even goes so far as to make a hurtful comparison, saying she acts like a dog trying to get attention. Laughing at how Minagi seems to think she's more popular than she actually is, when most people find her annoying. No one listens, his expression turning serious as he realizes they are talking about someone from their own class. Then it hits him. He remembers how Yukishiro had started talking to him, but he assumes she is not really trying to get closer to him. Meanwhile, the group of girls keeps picking on Minagi, calling them pigs, but they seem to be okay with Yukishiro being adored. One of them even says that only 2 fictional men are acceptable, and that real guys need to try harder. Even though Ichinose isn't very close to Yukishiro, it still bothers him that they're talking behind her back. Back in the karaoke room, he finds Minagi singing while the rest of the group wraps up their night. Someone comments that it was fun to have the whole class together for the first time, and suggests doing it again. The guys then decide that the next gathering should be just for them. As he steps outside, he feels a strange sensation, almost as if he saw a shadow moving. He brushes it off, chalking it up to his imagination, or perhaps a stray cat. The girl with glasses asks if she can walk with him part of the way home, saying he wants to make sure she gets home safely, since it is already late, and he does not want to leave a girl walking alone at night. She playfully questions why he always says such sweet things so effortlessly, joking that her heart can't handle it. Her face turns slightly red as their classmates wave goodbye off to the side. Meanwhile, Hanabi watches the scene unfold, thinking to herself that senpai belongs to her. She does not want anyone else to discover his charm. If he continues to act this way, he's likely to become the center of attention for every girl. Realizing she needs to make things right with all these blokes, her sinister laugh hints that she's already plotting something to end his carefree antics. The following day at school, things appear as usual. Students say hello and chat, but then a strange silence falls over the room. Their teacher, looking serious, announces that the class has received a letter accusing them of bullying. She seems a bit down when she tells him that a student is finding it so hard that they are no longer coming to school. Ichinose suddenly realizes that Yukishiro is the only person he really talks to. He sits next to Yukishiro and the other popular guys in class. He hardly speaks to most of his classmates, and doesn't know much about the girl in question. Then, he spots an empty seat. It has to be Erika, who had been grumbling in the corridor. He remembers how harsh her words were that night. Considering what she has been through, maybe her reaction makes more sense. At the time, it was hard to see things from her perspective. The teacher asks the guilty party to come forward, but no one speaks up. Ichinose assumes no one wants to admit it. The whole situation feels like a mystery scene, and their teacher seems fresh out of training, perhaps even a little unsure of how to handle this. Silence lingers in the classroom. No one wants to be the first to move. The teacher continues explaining that in some schools, bad teachers just label someone as a bully and call it a day. But that is not how things are done here. However, she warns them that if the bullying situation isn't resolved, their much-anticipated school trip might get cancelled. A sense of worry ripples through the room. It is hard to fathom that such a significant trip could be jeopardized. No one steps forward to admit anything. 5 days go by, and another letter arrives at the school. This time, the teacher reads it out loud, revealing a name. She pauses, hoping the student will come forward. But no one does. So she announces that if they do not confess, she will reveal the name herself. She calls out Yukishiro, and asks her to follow her to the student guidance office. The teacher mentions the name in the letter, and explains that they will need to talk to the academic coordinator about the situation. Ichinose notices the sadness on her face, and recognizes the disappointment in his expression as well. With tears welling up, she guides him out of the classroom, and he watches her from afar. Soon, accusations begin to fly, and Yukishiro is accused of harassing another girl. This sets off a heated discussion in class about whether she actually did it. Some students say she was close to DOI, while others claim they never saw them together. Many insist that she was always quiet, lost in her books, while DOI spent time chatting about anime with the otaku group. It didn't seem like the two had any real connection. Ichin's training partner approaches and asks if he knows anything about what's going on. He admits that the whole situation feels strange, almost like a classic case of school bullying. He suggests that if the teacher hadn't intervened, the students might not have even realized there was a problem. Then he starts to think about whether the accusations might actually be true, which really surprises everyone else. He also notices something strange about the letter. The track club athlete wonders if it could be a fabrication, and admits he's not sure. As they keep talking about what happened, Yukishiro walks into the classroom, looking rather upset. She quietly sits down, looking at Ain, who seems deep in thought. She gives him a note, saying she didn't harass anyone, and asking him to believe her. Their eyes meet, and he reassures her, telling her that he trusts her. Yukishiro's eyes fill with tears as she sees how heartbroken she is, and he decides to find out what is really going on. Later, the three of them sit down to talk, and they realize that things are getting even more complicated. During their last class of the day, the teacher tells everyone that Yukishiro has said she did nothing wrong, and has denied all the accusations against her. But even though she says she is innocent, the classroom is still very tense. The teacher then reminds them that a letter was sent to the school accusing Yukishiro of harassment. The students are asked to write down what they think on a piece of paper and are warned that if the problem isn't sorted out, the school trip will be cancelled. As everyone thinks about this, the teacher tells them to work together to find a solution. Ichinose realize that things are getting out of hand. Sadly, they can't depend on the teacher to fix this. If they want answers, they will have to figure it out themselves. Hi everyone, I wanted to share that the teachers are not doing a great job, and seem to be more focused on accusing each other. Yukishiro has apologized to them both, but Echin reassures her that this is not her fault. He suggests that if they carefully review all the information, they might be able to find a solution. He understands how difficult this is for her, but that is precisely why they need to support each other. Yukishiro thanks him and wishes she could do more to ease her worries. As they think about their next steps, Ichinose asks about the teacher's mention of the letter and whether Yukishiro knows who delivered it. She tells her that Diadoji reported her and that the second letter was personally handed over during a school visit. She thinks the situation has become more complicated because the supposed victim herself mentioned Yukishiro's name. Apparently, the girl said that if it had been anyone else, it would not have been as hard to handle. The main character starts putting the puzzle together. Diadoji is convinced that Yukishiro bullied her because of something she did, even though it's not clear why. Still, he thinks they should talk to Yukishiro directly. to find out the truth. They have to go to Dioji. He suggests checking Dioji's address, noting that it should be on the class list. He remembers how Yukishiro said she never bullied anyone, but he still feels a bit unsure. It's possible she accidentally hurt someone without realizing it, since he hasn't talked to her before. It seems unlikely she would be after him, but to find out for sure, they need to talk to her in person. They get to Dioji's place, but she immediately tells them to leave. Her voice is filled with anger as she accuses the teacher of protecting someone who was constantly verbally attacking others. She wants Ichinose to publicly apologize, and she won't forgive him otherwise. This request seems strange to him, because she isn't even there to accept the apology. So who is it really for, and what does she want to get out of it? Suddenly, he realizes something. The feeling creeping up his spine is just like what he felt at the karaoke place. Without thinking, he tells Yukishiro to come back right away, and then takes off running. As he sprints, Hanabi catches his hand. Surprised, she questions his urgency. Suspicion creeps in as he wonders if she's involved in Dondoji's accusations. Her presence here feels too convenient, and her amused expression suggests she's relishing the chaos. She closely observes him, clearly amused by his desperation. The memory of their past conversation flashes back. He declared he never wanted to see her again. Now, it feels like she's been waiting for him to chase after her. He remains focused on the situation. His mind is piecing together the events. Dioji's sudden accusations, the suspicious timing, and Hanabi's calculated involvement. The confrontation escalates as he presses her for answers, cornering her against the metal fence. Her flushed face catches his attention, but he dismisses it as unimportant. What matters is the truth behind her actions. His thoughts return to her childhood tendencies. He has always known her ability to deceive those around her, manipulating situations with ease. His suspicions solidify as he considers the possibility that Hanabi had planned everything from the start. She seems pleased with the chaos she has stirred, her demeanor unaffected by the weight of the situation. Her involvement in Dioji's actions becomes clear. Even though she didn't ask for anything, she sowed the seeds, creating a perfect opportunity for someone to play tricks on her. Dioji was so easy to take advantage of, and Hanabi just led her down a path that led to all sorts of trouble. Her interest in his class wasn't just a coincidence. It was on purpose, a carefully planned move to stir things up. He started to see that the strange unease he felt at the karaoke place had probably been her doing too. The situation started to make sense. He accepted what was true. She loves to manipulate, and she's once again pulled the strings from the shadows. He thought about telling the school about Hanabi's involvement, but she just laughed. He realized she would never testify against Hanabi, even if he tried to convince Dioji. But in his mind, Dioji was still the main problem, and confronting Hanabi didn't change anything. Hanabi thinks they should make the most of the moment and head out together, saying they have lots to chat about. But she's wrong, he points out. He only chased after her to talk and sort out the class issues. Her attitude changes, as she insists that can't be all. If he isn't angry with her, or trying to get back at her for what she did, then she can't understand why he's doing this. He thinks about it, and realizes that Hanabi set everything up just to get his attention. Even though he can't forgive her for hurting Yukishiro out of selfish reasons, blaming her completely and getting angry would only make her happy. He wonders what the best way to handle this is. He decides to try something different and tells her it's time to make new friends, just like he has. Hanabi reacts immediately with defiance, shouting that such a thing will never happen. He ignores her and walks away. It struck Ichinose that Hanabi's tears, unlike Yukishiro's real ones, didn't touch him at all. After all, they were just a performance. After chatting with Hanabi, Ichinose went back to Yukishiro, feeling a bit weighed down by everything he was thinking. He remembered how he had broken up with someone and cut off contact, only to later realize he was the one who caused it. That realization was heavy on him, knowing he had hurt those around him. Standing before Yukishiro, he bowed deeply, apologizing sincerely. She was surprised, but listened as he quietly said he was really sorry, his guilt evident in his voice and eyes. This moment was the start of his change, the first step towards dealing with the harm he had caused. As Ichinose bows to apologize, Yukishiro suddenly grabs his hands and tells him to look up. Her voice is firm but kind. She looks straight at him and says he is not in the wrong at all. Her eyes filled with quiet strength soften as she gazes at him, gently reassuring him without hesitation. Ichinose stood in front of Yukishiro, who gently asked if he was being chased by the same person he had a fight with, and he replied that it looked like she was still keeping tabs on them. Yukishiro had also heard that the girl was the one who made Dodoji tell lies. As she asked what he was planning to do, Ichinose answered firmly that he would handle Diodoji himself, and just needed one day. Yukishiro gave him a serious look, and offered to lend a hand as well. While Yukishiro kept a watchful eye, Ichinose told her to trust him completely, his gaze steady and resolute. He had been mulling over how to fix things, ever since chatting with Hanabi, but he did admit he might have to resort to a bit of sneaky tactics. When he saw Yukishiro, he quietly apologized, explaining that he couldn't have her getting involved. Even if she felt uneasy, he promised he would definitely take care of it. Yukishiro looked at him gently and asked if the girl he had a spat with was alright, but quickly added that she was fine on her own. Ichinose didn't respond straight away. He was still keeping his psychological abuse from Hanabi a secret. It would just cement the label of her victim, making it a permanent mark, even if that was the truth. His hand clenched a little tighter, still feeling the weight of everything. Ichinose glanced at Yukishiro, wondering if it would be wrong to share his own struggles, especially when she was going through so much. He thought Yukishiro would still try to comfort him, saying it was not his fault, but he did not want that. He just wanted to avoid it if he could. As Yukishiro stood there, looking so calm and understanding, holding her hand to her chest and listening without judging, he knew Yukishiro had every right to understand why Hanabi acted that way, especially since this whole mess started because of her. He had promised himself to talk to Yukishiro about everything between him and Hanabi, but only once everything was sorted out. As Yukishiro looked at him with gentle curiosity, he quietly made up his mind. The next day after school, he finally got ready to face her. Ichinose was standing in the corridor when he saw a girl coming towards him, calling out, "Akawa-san." Startled, Agawa Mari flinched and stopped in her tracks, clutching her school bag tightly. He moved closer, calm but serious. She stared at him quietly, tense, her eyes fixed on his. Ichinose glanced at her and softly asked if he could ask about Diodoji, make him sure she was comfortable. Agawa Mari remained silent, but her expression betrayed a mix of surprise and a touch of suspicion. It was a quiet beginning, but something was definitely brewing. Ichinose paused at G in the corridor, his voice steady but resolute. She froze, taken aback that he was speaking to her. He inquired about Diodoji, mentioning that he had seen her with her at karaoke. He was hoping to connect, and was hoping Gawa might share Diodoji's social media details, explaining that it was against the rules, but Ichinose did not relent. Still, he needed to reach out to her, no matter the cost. Ichinose met her gaze, his voice calm, as he pointed out that she had been with Diodoji, so she should know the truth, that the bullying against Yukishiro was a lie. Agawa's expression wavered, taken aback. He promised he wouldn't reveal where he got the information, and asked if she'd be willing to testify. When she hesitated, he stepped closer and lowered his head respectfully, asking for her help. Yukishiro was deeply hurt, so please lend me a hand. She glanced away and said it was impossible, wondering why she should care if Yukishiro was in trouble. She sounded cold and distant, adding that she had no interest in things not involving her. Ichinose remained silent. She said it was Erika's problem, not hers. When asked if she was friends with Theodachi, she corrected him. Just seatmates. Maybe there was room to interpret, but she wouldn't cover for her. Her face remained unreadable, as if she had already moved on. Ichinose asked if she could help since she didn't seem to hate Diodoji. Agawa stayed calm, saying it wasn't for Erika's sake, but for her own reasons, and if she stayed quiet, it meant less trouble. Ichinose could sense she wasn't the kind of person to just be a friend. Just maybe, she'd be okay if things were different. Still, when he asked again, she gave him a deadpan look, calm and serious. Ichinose had just played his final card. He walked up calmly, saying he knew she wouldn't help, even if he asked, so he offered to make an exchange instead. Hagawa looked surprised, unsure what he meant. He leaned closer, then suddenly brought up the karaoke after the sports festival, asking if she was alone with Diodoji in the hallway near the toilets. Her eyes widened as if caught off guard, her voice shaking slightly. Ichinose spoke softly, explaining that he happened to be nearby and saw her freeze in panic, trying to figure out how he knew her. She looked wide-eyed as he reminded her about overhearing her and her friend bad-mouthing classmates by name. His voice remained calm, but his words were sharp, warning what could happen if he told everyone. Her face turned pale, completely stunned. He leaned in a little, reminding her that the people she insulted were important members of their class, and if she dared to confront them, this school year would be very difficult for her. She panicked and asked if he had proof, but Ichinose stayed calm and said he didn't need any. Her face turned pale as she realized no one would believe her, even if she tried to deny it. He explained that even if the others didn't bully her, they would still avoid her. The girls nearby looked on, unsure, and everything felt tense. Then Ichinose leaned in a little and whispered something that made her freeze, like everything around her had just changed. Ichinose sat quietly, watching as the mood in the classroom shifted. Mari, with her cold and unreadable eyes, asked what was meant by the sudden doubt. The girl next to her insisted Yukishiro had never bullied anyone. Yukishiro even said it herself. Still, Mori pressed on calmly but firmly, questioning the atmosphere of the class. Yukishiro looked down, her expression heavy. The trust that once seemed clear was now tangled in silence and second-guessing. Even the quiet ones were starting to wonder. Maria stood tense, her face pale, as she warned that rumors couldn't be stopped once they spread. No one cared where the truth was, only what people believed. Ichinose, calm but serious, said, unless someone spoke up with real proof, it would just hurt everyone. Mary clutched her head, clearly shaken, and said she didn't want to get involved. Even if Erika had been whispering to everyone, glancing nervously around, she still offered something. Erika's social media account. As long as Ichinose promised not to tell anyone what they were doing. Mari looked down, scared she'd lose her place in class if anyone found out she was bad-mouthing others. People still saw her as the gloomy otaku girl. She begged Ichinose to keep quiet about what he heard at karaoke. Ichinose calmly asked if she was jealous of Minagi and the others. Maria didn't answer, but Agawa stepped in saying she felt the same. Ichinose told him it's not a good idea to gossip about someone. Ichinose smiled and said he had been a loner for years. He thought the popular kids like Ahara and Minagi looked like they were always having fun, and it made him admire them. Agawa looked shocked and a little sad. Her quiet jealousy had grown from watching those happy classmates. Ichinose really got how she felt. Agawa blushed a lot, amazed by how kind and cool Ichinose was. She got so excited that she started talking really fast, thinking people like him were a miracle. Ichinose was a bit confused, but before he could say anything, she shouted that she changed her mind and would secretly take charge from today, then ran off, leaving him standing there surprised. Ichinose sat on his bed holding his phone. The room was quiet as he moved to the second phase of the plan. He knew the girl wouldn't listen because he had heard her voice through the intercom, so he decided to contact Diadoji using the account Agawa had told him about. From now on, he had to act like Hanabi. No matter how risky it felt, everything hinged on this next move. Ichinose was dead set planning to get Hanabi to listen to him, knowing that the real puppeteer behind the bullying lies wouldn't care a bit. He figured he just needed to create some proof by acting like Hanabi so well that no one would question him. He knew this was the key to his plan, and his determined look showed he was ready to take this risky step to reveal the truth. Ichinose sat quietly, wondering if Hanabi was still in touch with someone on social media. But after all these years with her, he felt pretty sure he could impersonate her. He knew Hanabi only used Lean and kept her account private, sharing it only with him. When he discovered she had another account where she shared her dark, twisted feelings, his serious expression revealed that he was the only one who truly understood her hidden nature and was prepared to use that knowledge against her. Ichinose realized he could use another app besides L to impersonate Hanabi. Eager to connect with someone, he quickly downloaded Skype and created a new account under Hanabi's name. Then followed the account that Awa-san had mentioned. His determined expression showed he was ready to delve deeper into this risky deception to uncover the truth. Ichinose sat anxiously with his phone, realizing it hadn't even been 5 minutes since he started his plan. His face was all tension, as if he was holding his breath, waiting for anything to happen. He was holding his device so tight. The silence was making him wonder if his bold idea to pretend to be Hanabi would actually work. Ichinose's eyes went wide with surprise and excitement when he saw Arakachi's message saying good evening, mentioning that Hanabi also used Skype and should follow. He thanked him for the day and said Yukishiro and others had come to her house. Ichinose's face lit up with pure joy as he realized she had fallen for it.